What are we going to learn today? Well, let's do a little review first. First off, in IDS-G2, you have all your standard reports, and you have admin, AP, AR. You click on any of those, and then you get the reports, and then you run the reports. So those reports are still there. They don't go away. They're very good reports, but those reports are very restrictive. You get what you get. If you don't like interior color, you get it. You cannot change that. So that was one of the features why we went to more of a custom area. So these reports are still there. You'll still get to use them. So then we went to MITS reporting. Same thing. You still have accounts payable, accounts receivable, finance, and so forth. And you select any of the reports, and then you see that report in here. You double click on the report. And again, you get the report in front of you. Now, the beauty of the MITS reporting, if you don't like interior color, then you just click on it, you hit remove column, and it's out of there. So you can make some very basic edits. You can move columns back and forth. You can remove columns. You can add columns. So some very basic reporting to the reports that you used to see in IDS, but now they are more customizable. Well then, now we're introducing the vision reporting, because MITS, the prior one, we go back, this one is going away. Not soon, don't panic, but this is going to be going away. And then we're going to MITS reporting. And again, same process. GL parts, you still have your groups. You click on a group, you see the reports. Maybe a little bit different. Instead of double clicking, and these are browser based, you click on this little preview window. It brings up the report just like the MITS report. And the same thing. If you don't like a field, then you just click on the field. Or sorry, you click on the report first. You hit edit. Then you click on the offending column that you don't like. You go to column, and then you come down here and you hit delete column, and it's out of there. And of course, you hit save to change your changes. So you have the exact same functionality as MITS, but a lot more coming up for you. So bottom line is you get the same report. In other words, you can do the same customization that you did in the MITS reporting. So both are a great improvement over the standard IDS reports in the way that you can make changes. And again, the same thing, you can move columns back and forth just like you were able to do in the MITS. What we're going to be doing today is working with existing reports and making basic edits, just like you're used to, and then how to run the reports and how to export them to Excel. And then, again, in the basic area, how to make changes to the reports that you pulled up. So you find a report, you want to make a couple changes, how to add a column, how to remove a column, how to move the column left or right, how to sort a report, how to change the title, and of course, how to save it. So that'll be the two major items that you're looking at for your reporting. And now then we're going to go into advanced items. Like say you create a report, or you want to add prompts to it, or in this instance, how to add grouping, how to add subtotals, how to add grand totals, and then how to create parameters. Customers, I want to see all customers whose zip code is 29680. I want to see all part sales from January 1st to April 1st, and then how to make, so those are your basic parameters that you can create. Can you create more than those? Yes, you can, but in this video, we're just trying to do the basic, and then the advanced basic things that you're going to want to do. So with that being said, let's get to it. All right, the first on our agenda is how to run a report in Vision. Any report that you find, you should have a little icon right here that says View Report in New Window. If there are any prompts involved, they would be showing up right now, and you would answer the prompts, and you would have your report. Now, next step is the how to export a report. And I'm going to show Excel, but there are many factors you can. So up here in the upper right-hand corner, I'll go slower this time. Click on that little button. You'll have your choice. It defaults to PDF. Then if you choose Excel, Word, I'm going to do Excel, CVS. At the very bottom, click on Export. Lower right-hand corner, your file should be there. It's opening it. Let me drag it over to this screen and do what you will with your data. It is that easy. Go ahead and collapse this side. Now we're going to make some changes to the report. First, we'll do the add remove columns. So let me close the report. This is the report. This is the edit version of it. So I'm going to close this tab. And now I'm going to click on Edit Report. So that pesky little interior color is back again. There's a couple ways of, like any Windows product, of doing things. I like this way. The little three dots on the, I want to replace this column with something. I don't want to remove the column, but I just want to replace it with something. So I'm clicking the three dots, and this brings up all the fields available to you. Now I want base cost, so I'll put that there. And now it changed both the label and the item there. Now you can delete the column. I want to delete this column. Okay, click on the column. I'm right-clicking. Go down to the column header. Move over, and now you delete the column. So you can delete the column and then go back. Right-click. Column. I want to add the column to the right or left, and then add the column. So either change it, keep the existing column and just change it to whatever you wish to, or delete the column that you don't want and then re-add it. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. By the way, what I just did was Control Z, which works here, which I love. Control Z, and then we hit Control Y, puts it back. So Control Y repeats the last action. Control Z, which I'm hitting now, removes the last action, which I like that. Okay, and let's move a column. I want to move make to the left of year. So first you have to select the column. Like I click right here and that did the cell, but I want to correct the whole column. So now hopefully you see the difference there. So let me do this slower. If I click on year, well, that cell, I'm just grabbing that cell. If I click up here, I'm grabbing the column. And now I'm going to left click and hold, and I'll just drag it over. So very easy to move your columns back and forth once you put them up there. Okay, well, let's go ahead and actually, let me add one more to here for our reporting purposes. Let me add a column to the right here. So I'm going to insert a column to the left, and I want to have date received. A very handy feature once you get used to what fields are available to you is up here, and I'm just going to type in date. And if you notice my selection here, very handy feature. Get your field and throws it in there for you. Okay, so we moved it. We added a column, deleted the thing. Let's go ahead and see what we have. Let's hit preview. And now we have a report. So a couple things here. Base cost is 54,000, but I don't see the commas. And I want to sort my report. So let's do sorting the report first. So I'm going to hit back. And now we're going to add sorting to our report. Okay, so step one in this is, what are we sorting? We want to sort our data. So this line right here is the data line. This is when you run the report, you'll see all the items that are present. So over here, we have the details group, a group of all your data. And this is the details of it. So let me click on it and then watch what happens over here. Now I'm in the properties of the details group. Okay, and here I want to sort. So again, I could type it. I could hit plus sign, and I could just type it in here. The binding tab, which gives me a list of everything. And I want to sort it by unit type. So I'm up here. I just type in unit, and it gives me all the fields that have the word unit in it. I click on type, and now let's go ahead and run it again. And now I see it all by unit type. So that's how you add grouping to your report. So I'm hitting back up here, and let's go back, and that's how you sort. And next up, let's go ahead and change that title. It says, right now it says inventory by type. Let's go ahead and change that. So I'm clicking on inventory by type up here. It's just a text box. And inventory by type and sorted by type. Obviously, whatever you want the title to be. Okay, so now we have added a column and removed a column. We added the base cost. We moved them back and forth. We've sorted their columns by sorting. Again, we clicked on Details Group, and over here, that is the properties. That's that little gear up here. And under the properties of the Details Group, we hit the plus sign, which added this item here. We could get rid of it by hitting this item here. And it can be uppercase or ascending or descending. Right now, it's an A to Z order. If I click right here, that reversed it, and hit Preview. And now it reverses sort order on that there. Okay, and then obviously how to save your report. You have two choices. If I hit the Save button here, which you can, or you can do the Save As. So I'm going to do a Save As. So it's inventory by type, and I'm just going to add a number to it. So I'll just put 2 here, just kind of make it a different report. So I just made a copy of the report. So the first report's not changed. The second report, inventory by type, is now changed properly. And that is the basics. Everything that you want to do, moving columns, adding columns, sorting columns. And again, this was for taking an existing report and making some very basic edits to it. We didn't change any parameters and selection criteria, and that's what we're going to do in this next section. So this is your basic. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on how to group your reports. So I'm going to hit Preview again, and to show you what I mean first. So right now, our reports are just one column, one item after another. There's no grouping by type, and that's what I want to do. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and reverse my sort order again. It just bothers me. And now it's in the right order. And now let's go ahead and group our item. And I'm going to grab unit type. And then throw it right here. And now my table is by type. And all I did was drag it over there. Let me hit Control Z. So I want to group my report by type. I find the item that I want to group it by. Left click and hold. Drag it over here. Release. And now my table is by unit type. And let's make sure it is. So let's hit Preview. And now it's grouped by type. Okay, let's go ahead and add some subtotals to our report now that we have it grouped. Okay, so I'm going to come here and give it a label. So I'll just put the word subtotal. Whatever you want, and it can be in any of these fields. This is just a label. And what do I want to sum? The base cost. So I'm going to right click, left click on cell expression, and this is a wizard, and said it helps you build these expressions. So I want to do an aggregate, and I know the aggregate is a sum. So I'm going to double click. So when I double click, watch what happens up here. It throws the expression up there. The curly brackets indicate that something inside of them is either a calculation of some sort or a field. So in this instance, I'm doing a calculation and putting a field. So I'm going to put my cursor right between the two parentheses of the sum, because I want to tell it what to sum. I'm going to go over Data Sets, click on the drop down, and then double click on Base Cost. And again, I'll highlight it. So curly brackets on either side, indicating something's going on the inside, and I want to sum the base cost. And the base cost is enclosed automatically for you with the square brackets, indicating it's a field. All right, let's hit Save. And let's hit Preview. So let me go ahead and hit gallery view and take the elevator down. And then hopefully in a couple seconds, we'll see the subtotal. Oh, and there you go, subtotal. And now I want to see dollar signs and so forth. So let's go ahead and hit back again. And I'm going to click on that field. And I'm going to collapse this. I just like it collapsed. And I'm going to go into the properties of that field. Now the property of that field, I want to change it to a currency, which would be done in the format area. So I want the currency. And now let me hit preview again. And now I have my currency with my commas. But as you can see, the 0 is kind of one too many zeros. So I'm going to make that field a little bit bigger. So I'm going to shrink a little bit and increase that column a little bit. And just one more time. Well, actually, I'm going to change that while I'm here. Base cost didn't have the commas either. So I'm going to click on base cost, come over here to format, and again, change that to currency. Okay, now I'll hit preview. So now these have the nice little commas in them now. And I've expanded it big enough to where it shows the total. And again, any of these fields could have that label underneath it, subtotal of type, subtotal of whatever you want. Could have been right there. And let me just take it one more down to example. So that was subtotal of SB. And that's subtotal of TT. Now, a little bit confusing. I got subtotals, SY there. I want to know what's the subtotal of. So let me hit back. And come here. So I'm going to put the unit type here. And I'll show you what that is. So I know what, and actually, let me change my subtotal of. I'll just kind of put a space there. And now hit preview again. Take the elevator down. And now total of SB. And again, now I have it there. Just kind of a easier way to read it, however you wish to play with your reports. Okay, so that's how to group it. Now I have a subtotals by the different groups. But now I want a grand total. So I go all the way to the bottom. I have all these subtotals, which is nice, and all good, but I want a grand total of everything. So come down here, and come here, and type in my, I'm going to do the Excel expression again, aggregate, sum. I'm going to leave the cursor there, put my cursor right between the parentheses, data set, inventory, double click on base cost, and hit save. So if you notice, I did the same thing. It's just where I put it is the difference. And come over here and double click, grand total. And now let's hit preview. So I did the same sum operation, I just put it on a different row. So obviously the sum is only going to appear in one place, or the grand total, I'm sorry, all the way at the bottom. So I will take my elevator all the way to the bottom, and then you have the grand total at the bottom. And again, I forgot to format it, so let me go ahead and do that real quick. So click on the field in question, click on properties, click on format, and change it to whatever you want to. And that's it. So now I have the grand total. But now, what if I want a space between these two? Let's try to see if we can do that. So now I have, that's all I did. And actually you could do this if you wanted to. And say over here the same. And let's hit preview. Again, where will that appear? Only one place in the report at the very bottom. Take the elevator all the way down. And now we have our total, how we want that. Now, a couple other things I'd like to show you within this before we do the parameters, which is your prompts, is formatting. I'd like to have the date in the left-hand side. Let me go all the way back up again. The date looks funky to me on this side. I'd rather have it left justified. Everything else looks fine, but date, for some reason, is right justified. So I'm going to click on the date field, align to the left, because that's what I want to the left, and let's hit preview. And now that's more less funky. So one more time, see how it's left justified? I'm hitting back. I'm highlighting that field, and I'll hit the more icon, and I'll select right justified, preview. Now it's on the right side. Doesn't look good to me. Go back. Again, it's still highlighted. Don't really have to touch it. Hit less justified, preview, and now it looks better to me. Alrighty. Finally, we're now going to get into parameters. I want to see this report by, we'll do date range first. I want to see all inventory received between two different dates. Okay, let's hit back. So click anywhere inside your table, go over here to the right, and let's edit our data set. So I'm clicking on edit. I'm going to parameters. I'm hitting plus, and I'll put in from date. And then I'm going to hit plus, and I'm going to put to date. Very important, just how the system works. Don't put anything in the values at this point. It's a prompt, so you don't need values. Hopefully that makes sense, because you're going to input the values when you run the report. So if you could, watch what happens right here. See how it says report has no parameters? Watch what happens when I hit OK. Now it does. Now, one thing here real quick, the parameter by default are string, and this is not a string parameter. So I want to change it from string to date. I'm hitting back. I'll click on the second parameter we created, and again, I'll change it to date. So now our parameters are all set. We're going to go back to edit data and dataset. I'm going to add those parameters that we created as filters. So here, I'm going to click on add. And first, I want it to be date received. Now, you might think equals is logical, but no. I want it to be between two things, my two dates. So date received between, I'm now going to hit my Eclipse, and I'm going to actually just type in FR, and that will take me again all the way to the bottom. I knew it started with FR. And I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to type in TO. If I put in D, that'll take me to the bottom. And now from date to date, and click OK. Now, well, that's going to give me two blank date things. I want a default in here. So let me hit back here, or hit edit again. And let me go back to edit my data set. So instead of these appearing to the user as blank, let's give a starting value to them. Okay, so click OK. And now I'm going to click on the parameter I want a default value to, so I'm clicking on date. So it's a non-query, so I'm hitting the plus sign. And I got one too many, so I'll hit this trash can. So I want to add an expression here. So I'm hitting my Eclipse here, expression builder. I'm going to go to date and time. I'm going to use the today function. So we'll double click, throws it up there. Hopefully you got used to that, curly brackets and parentheses. And now I want to add something. So I want today. So this time I'm going to click past after the second open paren. So I have open paren, close paren. I'm clicking, my cursor is now between that last parenthesis and that curly bracket. And I'm going to go down, excuse me, down here and go to add months. And now within add months, I'm going to put -1 because I want the prompt to begin with whatever date is today -1 month. So today is the June 16th. I want the default today to be 5/16. Okay, I'm going to hit save. And that took care of the, let me hit back. I just made that for the from date. Now the to date, I want it to be today. So again, it's a non-query. I want to add something, plus sign. I'm going to hit my expression builder, expression. I'm going to go to date and time. I'm going to double click on today, and I'm going to leave it today. And now let's hit preview. So hopefully when I hit preview, what you haven't seen before are two things going to pop up, which will be from date and to date. And then from date should be a month ago, and to date should be today. So 5/16 to 6/16, and it automatically runs for you. Now you can change it. So come here, go back a couple, whatever you want to, click on 14th, and now hit preview again. And now we'll have things date received between the 14th and the 18th. So that's your date range. That's probably one of the most common things you're going to want to remember how to do with the system. So you might watch this video again. So let me hit back. Okay, so we've seen how to create prompts by date range. So I want to add to that. I want to add a prompt that allows us to select by unit type. So a little bit different. I'm going to click on add parameters. Give it a name. That would be a string prompt. And now I want to bind that parameter to the table. Filters, add. Okay, I'm binding it to unit type equals unit type. And let's hit preview. Okay, so our date's there, and I'm going to come here and I'll just type in SB. And you have SB. If I put in TT and TT, and I have that. So that is if the user knows the type, they can select one at a time and type in it. Now they can't do this or with a comma or any combination of that, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. But one at a time, there's your ticket. Okay, so that's way one. Now let's hit a review on that just really, really quickly. So I clicked anywhere in here. I went to the data, and I added a parameter. So I don't need to add it this time. I clicked on add, but I added this parameter. And all I did was said unit type, left it string, and that was it. Sorry, that was step one. And then I clicked on the table, which is this right here, and clicked on the properties of the table, and I tied that parameter I created to the prompt. So prompt or parameter I created earlier. And when I did that, I hit preview, and I put in SB or whatever date, and it was in there. Which that works, but it would be better to give the user a selection of types via a checkbox. So let me show you that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the table that were earlier, and I'm going to hit trash can, get rid of it. Click on any field over here, and go to the data label, and delete the parameter we created. Okay, so starting from scratch again, but this time they're going to have a selection. So add parameter. But this time I'm actually going to select multi-value, and then I want to populate that list. And so where does the data come from? It's going to come from the inventory data set, and it's going to come from the unit type field. Okay, so almost the same, a little bit different. I checked that box here, and then I gave it a default type, whereas the first time I didn't do any of that because I had them type it in. Then back, select table, and click on the properties of the table. And here a little bit different again. So add the unit type again. The unit type. Now I did equals because there's only one value. Now I'm going to use the in function here and then select my prompt. So pretty close, but a little bit different to give them a table. So let's hit preview. So again, I'm just leaving those dates alone. And if I select one, SB, and hit preview, I have SB. If I click on that one, I have SB and FD, and then obviously I can do select all and do all three of them, and then I'll have all three of them. Now, one thing to note, if it's, you might have other ones, MAD or something else, but they're not showing up here. All that's going to show up here is what was selected here. So let me show you that real quick. Let me go back a bit. So now we're back to 2021, and now my selection criteria has greatly increased because those types are within that date range. So if I want OB or whatever, and then you hit preview, then you're going to have OB or whatever you selected. Alrighty, that's going to be the two major functions that you do, or major parameters that you create. And so date range, huge. You're going to use that a lot. I don't think you're going to use the first one I showed you, where they type it in versus the table. But that's obviously up to you. I like the table idea a lot better. The user doesn't have to, oh, did I do, they don't have to think. They can just select what they want and then hit preview, and then they get an expected result back. Alrighty, I thank you guys very much, and you have a good day. Take care.